What is up, bros and brats? I'm Inkslasher, and welcome back to Evolution, the series where we look at the history of Call of Duty. And today is no different, but we are not looking at a weapon today, but rather a kill streak. And that kill streak that we're going to be looking at today is the Predator missile. Now, I know that not in every Call of Duty game it's called a Predator missile. However, the reason why I titled the video that was because in the first game to have one, Modern Warfare 2, it was called the Predator missile. Now this, as you can see on screen here, was a 5 kill streak, and the real reason for this kill streak was to kind of replace or interchange with the airstrike. Now don't get me wrong, the airstrike was still in Modern Warfare 2, but the thing is most people opted for the Predator missile. The question is, why is that? Well, as I mentioned, it was a 5 kill streak, and the magic with Modern Warfare 2 is your kill streaks stacked. So if you were going for a 7 kill streak and got 2 kills with your Predator missile, it would then build and give you that Harrier strike. Then if your Harriers were to get you 4 kills, that would give you an AC-130 or Chopper Gunner. And that's why the Predator missile was so popular in Modern Warfare 2, is it could almost guarantee you in itself to almost get you an AC-130 with a 5 kill streak, which was absolutely insane, and why it almost solely replaced the airstrike. Now, after Modern Warfare 2, we had Black Ops 1, and this was actually the first Treyarch game to introduce kill streaks that weren't just 3, 5, and 7 kill streaks. And they didn't actually add a sort of Predator missile, but they had something else, something called a Valkyrie rocket. The Valkyrie rocket in Black Ops 1 was a 7 kill streak, so it wasn't too difficult to get, but it was a weird one. You had to first of all call it in like a care package, wait for it to land, then pick it up, and then you could finally use it. The weird thing about this is in Call of Duty Black Ops 1, kill streaks were no longer stackable, so you couldn't rely on your other kill streaks to build you up to that 7 kill streak. Now, once you actually got the Valkyrie rocket, you had to shoot it almost like a rocket launcher up into the air, and then you could maneuver it around as need be. The thing with this is it would last a lot longer than a normal Predator missile, and by simply flying it way up into the air, you could operate it like a normal Predator missile. The other thing is you got 2 rockets with it, so instead of a 5 kill streak only having 1 rocket, it's now a 7 kill streak with 2 rockets, which was pretty easy to get 2 kills with as well. However, this kill streak was not used very much. One of the main reasons is once you actually shot the rocket into the air, it left your character vulnerable to be shot at, and you couldn't really defend yourself. And to this day, Black Ops 1 has been the only Call of Duty game ever to have the Valkyrie rocket. The next Call of Duty kill streaks operated a little bit differently. They were called strike packages, and they were linked with your classes. Now, the type of kill streak that the Predator missile was in the Assault class, and once again, it was a 5 kill streak. Now, there's really not much to say about this one, as it operated nearly identically to that in Modern Warfare 2. Once again, the only really 2 options you had to do with it was move it via the control stick, or boost it with the right trigger. The only main difference was in Modern Warfare 3 they were called point streaks. Reason being, you could actually build up kill streaks by playing the objectives. For example, capturing a flag in domination would give you 1 point, similar to a kill, towards your kill streaks. Now, Black Ops 2 would really turn things on its head with, first of all, a new kill streak system called score streaks, and on top of that they changed the Predator missile to something called a Hellstorm missile. So for those of you who don't already know this, score streaks were implemented to reward the objective-based players, giving you score for things like capturing flags, or even if you called in a UAV, you'd get 10 points based on a UAV assist. This would all help you build up to higher score streaks, and the one we're looking at in Black Ops 2 is the Hellstorm missile. Now this is almost identical to a Predator missile. The only difference is you could break it apart into a cluster and make the area that it impacted much larger. Similar to the Predator missile in Modern Warfare 2, you could use the left trigger to boost the rocket, and then the right trigger to break it apart and cover a larger area, as we talked about before. Now, another big difference is in Black Ops 2, this costed 700 score, which is equivalent to about 7 kills in TDM. Back when we were talking about Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, remember, the Predator missile only cost 5 kills. Now, come Call of Duty Ghosts, they once again reintroduced strike packages and point streaks exactly similar to Modern Warfare 3. But one difference was that there was no longer a Predator missile, but something new called a Trinity rocket. Now, similar to Black Ops 2, the Trinity rocket would go down the same route, and instead of costing 5 kills, would cost 7 points to actually get. But the main difference with the Trinity rocket is it had an extra feature that was different from both the Predator missile and the Hellstorm missile, and that kind of goes with the name. It was called a Trinity rocket, which is basically saying 3 rockets. So the cool thing about this is when you shot it, you could fire 2 rockets that would actually track people prior to using your boost rocket, which you actually guided and tried to kill people that way. So it was actually pretty easy to get upwards of 3 kills with a Trinity rocket. And similar to Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2, if you were to use your point streaks in the same life you earn them, they would stack towards your next point streak. And then after Call of Duty Ghost, we have Advanced Warfare. And Advanced Warfare basically took score streaks from Black Ops 2 and turned them completely upside down with a new thing called score streak variants. Now, the new score streak that was like the Predator missile in this game was called a missile strike, and with score streak variants you could fine-tune it to choose the type of missile you actually wanted. For example, the base missile strike would cost 650 score, so about 6.5 kills in TDM. But from here, you could add variants. So for example, the one we're looking at here is the cluster missile. So for an extra 50 score, so 700 score total, this would now split into 3 different missiles that would do less damage, but in 3 different areas. Also, for an extra 100 points, you could make it a Hellfire missile, which would operate similar to the Hellstorm missile from the Black Ops series. Then for an extra 100 points each, you could add an extra missile to make it similar to the Trinity rocket that we saw in Call of Duty Ghost. And then finally, we have the Nano Swarm, which costs an extra 150 points, but after the missile landed, you would have a swarm of nanobots left behind that would do damage to people in that area. Now, if I'm being completely honest, not a ton of people use this score streak in Advanced Warfare. A lot more people like to use the System Hack, UAV, and then maybe the Warden or some higher score streak. And I can't go through this video without mentioning the Vulcan, which wasn't really a type of Predator missile, but, well, it was kind of just this.
Missile strike on standby.
And then we had Black Ops 3, and Black Ops 3 essentially brought back the exact same thing as Black Ops 2, a 700 score streak that was called a Hellstorm missile. And really the only difference between the two is that in Black Ops 3, by pressing left trigger, it didn't boost the Hellstorm missile, it actually slowed it down, making it a little bit easier to aim. Right trigger still broke it into a cluster and covered a larger area, exactly like Black Ops 2. And then finally, you also had L3 that you could press, and that was your actual speed boost. And next we have Infinite Warfare, which once again brought back the Trinity rocket that we saw in Call of Duty Ghost. Once again, with this kind of Predator missile, you had 3 rockets. The first 2 were heat-seeking, you could shoot them off before you used your boost, and your final rocket you controlled and aimed at whoever you wanted to kill. Now, one thing that was kind of added halfway through Infinite Warfare's life cycle was, once again, kill streak variants. The first one we got here is called Fissure. It is a rare Trinity rocket, and basically what this does is called a Ripple. It makes a single payload that does 1 explosion, similar to a normal Predator missile that kind of ripples out from the center damage. So different from having 3 rockets like the Trinity rocket normally has, this one only has 1, but a larger explosion. If you ask me, this one's really not worth it. So the second is called the Abyss, and its perk is called Implosion. Basically what this one does is when the Trinity rocket or one of the missiles actually lands, it creates an implosion. It sucks people into it, similar to almost a black hole grenade. It's not quite as strong as the gravity gun in this game, but it implodes and sucks people in. This one's just simply a little bit better than the normal Trinity rocket, and it costs the same amount of score. And then the last one we have here is called Warhead, and this one's pretty ridiculous. Its perk is called Endless, and basically what it allows you to do is fire endless rockets. So basically what happens is your rockets no longer heat seek, but it fires 4 mini rockets every time you press the trigger. And generally you can get off about 4 of these because there is a slight delay, a reload delay in between them. So you shoot the 4 mini rockets, and then you have your self-controlled rocket that you have at the very end. In my opinion, this is the best one out of all of them, as it costs the same amount and you get many more rockets, which is many more opportunities to actually kill people. But that's the Trinity rocket in Infinite Warfare, and after this, we have the final game, which is Call of Duty World War II. So in World War II, we have a glide bomb. The glide bomb costs 650 score, so 100 less than Infinite Warfare's Trinity rocket, or if you're using the new perk Blitzkrieg, which allows you to get kills to get this, it only costs 6 kills. And it's essentially one Predator missile, kind of. It's a glide bomb. So what I would have to say about the glide bomb is, out of any of the Predator missiles we've looked at, this one definitely has the coolest animation. Literally, it gets dropped out of a plane and you get to see it, after which you are able to control it, but there is no boost, there is no way of slowing it down, you can just control it and it falls relatively quickly. So if you're not fast with your aim, you're simply not going to kill anyone. I really do think that the glide bomb could be improved by simply adding a boost feature or a slowdown feature to make you able to aim a little bit better, kind of like Black Ops 3's Hellstorm missile. But guys, that is the evolution of the Predator missile in every single Call of Duty game. I hope you enjoyed it. It took me a lot of effort to get all the clips together and edit it all together. So if you did enjoy it, it'd be awesome if you could hit that like button, and down in the comments, let me know what you would like me to cover next in the Evolution series. It could be a weapon, it could be a score streak, it could be pretty much anything in Call of Duty. So let me know what you want to see down in the comments. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, it's always appreciated if you hit that subscribe button. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars.